Hi, so we're gonna make a wing. Um, just need to basic lofts. Starting off with this, just the straight through lofts. We're gonna do this with surfacing. Again, this is the entire point of the homework is to study a little bit of surfacing. Loft between. Oh gosh, that's fine. I still had something selected previously, so I thought I was trying to start with a loft as one of the beginning points of the next one. It's not really right. Remember my comments about the closing points of these profiles. I need to actually have the closing point on the bottom so I get a separation vector in the right spot. I think that'll work nicely. Not worrying about guide curves or anything on these because they're just straight sweeps. Or, sorry, excuse me, straight lofts. And finally, lastly, I'll do it on the winglet up here. I believe if I click on the bottom of the airfoils, it automatically places the closing point right where I want. Click on these two. Alright. I think that's got what we need. I'm going to go ahead and just make the simple planar surface on top of this guy up here. I just select the edges that I like and close them off. Okay. Leaving me only with the task of lofting in this blended winglet thing here. I want to hide these sketches because they're just going to get in the way of actually selecting the edges. Remember, sketches have no directional information contained with them. So I'm just finding them in the tree because it's kind of hard to click on them in 3D. You know, you never know really what you're going to hide. Whoops, clicked on the wrong thing. So I'll go back in here, find that sketch, hide it. Now we have the exposed edges. They're blue because they're not joined to another surface. I know that I need to go in and make some guide curves. So starting with the 3D sketch, I will make a spline between this point and, oh gosh, my computer, who is trying to record a full screen video and run SolidWorks and compute splines, updating with every mouse move at the same time. It's having some difficulties, so we'll give it a moment here. Okay, that'll be one spline. Second starts at the bottom point and goes to this one. I think I clicked the right area. Yeah, it looks about right. I'm going to go back in a second and straighten these all out. I just want to get the splines created to begin with. And finally, the trailing edges. Join that up together. Okay, so clicking on this line, moving the handle around, and then also control clicking the trailing edge, I make them collinear. This means that those handles are going to line up perfectly with that trailing edge in 3D. Alright, so we've got a pretty good shape looking there on the trailing edge. Okay, looks great. Do the same thing here on the leading edge. Clicking that line, handle, internal line there. Oh gosh. Need to move it a little bit to instantiate the handles actually being a real thing. When they're still gray, SolidWorks is basically just ignoring their existence. So there's that. And then same thing here. Select this handle, internal dividing line, collinear. Oh gosh. Alright, then finally just this one handle's left. Make that collinear. If I really wanted to be meticulous and make sure that these two splines up here, since they define the leading edge, are in fact the exact same, I can go in and set tensions on these splines. We know they already have the same angle. I might as well do that. What, 0.5 maybe? Oh, no, that's too little. 0.65. Alright, sure. 0.65. This may not be perfect method on how to get them exactly parallel at all spots. In fact, yeah, it's not at all. But we can just sit here and get these dimensions set up a little bit so we can make this shape look like it has a uniform leading edge. That looks great. Okay, I've put all three of these into one 3D sketch. It's truthfully better to do them as separate 3D sketches, but this will get the job done. I'll show you what I have to do uniquely for that. So surfaces, I'm going to do this with a series of lofts. I've seen this work a few ways. I'm going to do it as three separate because I think that's the best, or two separate lofts and one boundary surface on the leading edge. So I'll start with the upper profile of the winglet, clicking on that edge, moving things around, clicking on the upper profile of the wing. It connects the two, and then I want to make sure that it adheres to the guide curve. Notice this selection manager automatically came up. Since there's three guide curves in one sketch, it's asking me like, oh, hey, do you want to include anything else while you're here? Nope, that's the only curve I want for that guide curve. And then for this guide curve over here, again, it brings up Selection Manager. Nope, just that one. See, it makes 2 open groups for me. And that loft is set. In fact, oops, I just forgot something. So on this loft, I need to go back in, start in constraints. It is important, even though I have those guide curves, to make them tangent to the face. You see, as I changed it, it is still different than having no vector at all. See how the surface changes just a little bit? So make sure to always make them tangent, at least curvature if you want. I'm just going to go for tangency here because that's good enough for me. Finally, I repeat the loft kind of here on the bottom, going from that section to this one. You can do multiple edges at a time using Selection Manager. You can right-click up here in the box, turn on Selection Manager, and use it. Don't have to do that here. Guide curves, use that rear trailing edge, so make sure it matches up. And secondly, I need to go unhide that 3D sketch, which was probably gobbled up in the previous loft that I made. Oh, come on, SolidWorks. Open this guy up, 3D sketch. I need to show him. Alright, so I can click on this line now. See, that's the only one I care about, and there we go. So that bottom is adhering to everything I want. Set the start and end constraints to both tangent. Say OK, and now we have the top and bottom surface looking mighty nice. You heard me talk about these graphical artifacts in class. If you want to fix that, we go to Tools, Options, and then Documents, Image Quality. And what you have to do is either you can check Optimize Edge Length and then also slide this all the way up. I'm going to keep it out of the red at least and click Optimize, and hopefully this will fix it. No, of course not. It'll probably just make my computer run really slow now. Excellent. Okay, hopefully that worked fine. We're back. I got my computer over that problem. So lastly, we're just going to close out the leading edge. That graphical technique does work if you just take that slider all the way to the right. It'll make those graphic artifacts go away. The problem is exacerbated by long, slender surfaces, like, for example, a wing. That's it's going to make the problem just worse. Speaking of worse, my computer's having a terrible time with its life right now. It's not having fun. Alright, so I'm exposed to these edges. They're all together. Boundary surface. So I'm going to go from this top front edge to the bottom front edge. Looks great. Direction 2. Notice the boundary surface is perfect here because I have 4 edges I want it to adhere to. It's not matching up perfectly off the first go, so I just need to... Which one is the actual edge? Gosh, that's confusing. This one? Yeah, it looks great. So that makes that surface adhere to all 4, and I can make them tangent in each case. Yeah, that's great. Thank you for that. Alright, selecting these edges, tangent, tangent. Okay, so now it should be smooth, looking good. That's a nice piece of blending. Notice we still have blue lines everywhere. We need to join it together. I'm going to hide this sketch because that's just annoying. Alright, so that means I need to go through and knit. So that loft, the top of this winglet, that loft, the top loft we did here, the bottom surface loft we did there, and then the leading edge. All these edges should be closed because we used guide curves to make sure they attached right there in the middle. So say, alright, they're all one big happy knit together family. So now finally we just go to Features, Mirror, choose the right plane as the mirror face plane because it's right in the middle. Underneath Bodies to Mirror, select that knit, say OK, and we're good to go. An entire blended wing, you can use those same blending techniques to perhaps cut out this this hard notch in the middle of the wing here and put in a smooth fillet between them. This winglet transition is actually something quite difficult to do, and there you go. Now you know how to do it. Notice how it kept the airfoil shape even on the turn, so it looks mighty bit nice. I hope you recognize how difficult this might have been using other techniques, especially only solids. So that's how you do the wing part in your homework.